Good afternoon. I'd like to call this meeting of the House Finance Committee to order. I'll start by having our senior committee legislative assistant call the roll.
Good afternoon, everybody.
Good afternoon, Lori.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman Samuelson,
Here.
Sapita Freites,
Vote by designation.
Dave Deloso, Fiedler,
Vote by designation.
Frail, Gallagher, Kenyatta, McNeil,
Vote by designation.
Mursky, Rab, Scott, Waddell, Smith Waddell,
Vote by designation.
Ben Waxman,
Vote by designation.
Webster.
Here.
Chairman Griner,
Here.
Bernstein,
Vote by designation.
Brown,
Vote by designation.
Fritz, Jones,
Vote by designation.
Kephart, Cutts,
Vote by designation.
Mako, McCurry,
Vote by designation.
Rader, and Rossi.
Vote by designation.
We have enough for a quorum.
And thank you, and I apologize. I announced Representative McNeil as vote by designation, but she's actually online and will be voting with us this afternoon. We have two items before the committee today. The first one is House Bill 2092, sponsored by Representative Bizzarro. I'd like to call on Shannon Snell, our research analyst, to have a brief description of the bill.
Thank you and good afternoon. House Bill 2092 amends the fiscal code to make several changes to the unclaimed property process, namely to allow the automatic return of unclaimed property where the value of the property is $10,000 or less. Some of the other changes, it makes a couple changes to the finder registration of individuals who assist in finding unclaimed property. It requires the Treasury Department to maintain certain information on its internet database related to searching for unclaimed property. And it increases the amount of money to be retained in a separate fund from the transfer of unclaimed property to the Treasury Department from 20 to 25%, and then provides the extra 5% is to be used for an education campaign, and it increases some penalties for offenses related to unclaimed property.
Thank you, Shannon. And I just want to note for the record, we did vote on a similar bill back on December 11th. We voted on a bill sponsored by Senator DeSanto and passed the committee. It had second reading on the House floor. It's currently in the House Appropriations Committee. But now we have a new proposal sponsored by Representative Bizzarro with a different threshold. I do need a motion to bring up House Bill 2092, sponsored Representative Webster, seconded by Representative Deloso. And I'm offering an amendment to the bill requested by the Department of Treasury and also the prime sponsor, Representative Bizzarro. I'd like to have Shannon Snell describe the amendment, 4512, although I do need a motion to bring up the amendment. Representative Gallagher, Representative Scott, second.
This amendment makes a couple changes, and the main one is it provides that unclaimed property will be automatically returned only if the person receiving the property is the sole owner. Under the bill right now, it just says owner, and this is something that we heard from the Treasury Department was in cases of unclaimed property where there's not a claim on file, it's a little bit more difficult to determine who should get the property if they're going with automatic, so they would prefer to limit it to cases where they know just one person or entity is receiving the property. And they also gives the Treasury Department the option of entering into memorandums of understanding with state agencies for the purpose of distributing educational materials. And finally, it directs the Treasury Department to establish a data sharing program to locate or verify identifying information of individuals listed in the Treasury Department's records as the owners of unclaimed property, and this is information that should be updated at least annually.
Thank you. I want to note for the record the presence of Representative Cepeda Freitas, and I think we have a question from Representative Rader.
Yes, I do have a question. It's probably on the bill, but I'll say it now anyway. You can give me the answer later. We help a lot of people in our district offices on claim property issues. If this goes through, will we still have the ability to help those who fall through the cracks on something like this? And the other question I have, and I'll do them both and I'll just listen. People who pass away, we're having issues all the time with that in our office. Is the state going to be able to tell, are they going to track if people are still alive when they're sending this money back? Because you wouldn't want to just be out there in limbo. Is that going to be watched and taken care of?
Thank you. Yes, our district offices and the general public will still have the ability to apply for unclaimed property. The actual paper application, the online application still will exist. This is a process for the Department of Treasury to release money if they can verify the identity on top of the existing process. And yes, my understanding is, yes, they do verify whether someone has passed away or not. Chair Greiner?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And yeah, similar question. If somebody would pass away, and we probably have some unclaimed property now, and the assets would be in an estate, will the Treasury Department distribute those funds to the beneficiaries who are still living?
I believe under the base bill, those individuals would still be included, but the amendment, I believe, removes heirs designees and then other cases where there might be multiple owners of the property from this, just so there's no confusion as far as the automatic piece of this.
So just to clarify, then that would fall under the existing law, where we would have to provide information. Let's say there'd be two siblings. We would still be doing it the same way by providing that information, whatever Treasury would be asking for. Because sometimes these are significant dollars. If you have a $25,000 insurance policy or something like that, I just want to be sure that I understand. So this is anything under 10 anyway, so kind of that's a little bit different. But I want to clarify that people, that if there's money out there where a parent passes away, that they were unaware of, and all of a sudden they see this, that there's still a mechanism where people can pursue those monies.
Gotcha. Yeah, so the existing program will still exist. This is above and beyond the existing program. And the existing program, you have to file documents, you have to file verification, and that can also handle cases of heirs, cases of more than one property owner. My amendment makes clear that the automatic distribution of unclaimed property after the identity has been verified is only in cases where there is a sole owner of the property and that person is still alive. Anything else? Any other questions? Do we have any negative votes on the amendment 4512? The amendment passes unanimously.
I just got a confirmation from Joshua Wilson from the Treasury. It's saying yes, under the bill as amended, they would not auto-return to heirs, only living individuals. Those heirs would go through the regular process.
Thank you, Shannon. Very timely, because now the bill has been amended. And I'm going to call up a vote on the final bill, unless anybody have questions or comments on the final bill as amended. Are there any negative votes on House Bill 2092? House Bill 2092 passes the committee unanimously. Next, I'd like to move to Senate Bill 126, sponsored by Senator Mastriano. And I need a motion to bring up the bill. Representative Gallagher, I need a second. Representative Rabb. And I'd like to call on Shannon for a description of the bill.
Senate Bill 126 excludes veterans' disability benefits from income for any Commonwealth Assistance Program.
Thank you. And I do want to mention that the committee did pass a House version of this bill, identical language, sponsored by Representative Markosik. That was at our meeting about 13 months ago, April 25th of 2023. My intent in bringing this bill up is to have both a House version and a Senate version before the full House of Representatives at budget time, to give the leaders of the House and the Senate the ability to work with either version of the legislation. Before we vote, I do have one comment. We have a late filed request from the Department of Health. Cannot do it as an amendment today, but if it does come up in the House floor, the Department of Health would like clarifying language that if there's a program that has a federal income limit and a state program, and the two programs are working together, that nothing in this bill would jeopardize the state benefit. I believe that already is the case, but Department of Health would like us to add a clarifying sentence down the road. Any other discussion on Senate Bill 126? Are there any negative votes on Senate Bill 126? Senate Bill 126 passes the committee unanimously. With no other business, this meeting is adjourned.